The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Thanks for hanging with us. It's the Morning Drive on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Yours worldwide through the Double T 97.3 mobile app. Jamie Lent to my right. I'm Chois Woodman. Y'all continue to bring in your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get to as many of those as we possibly can. All right, this is Choice's question of the day at 6:15. Biggest surprise of the weekend. Micah Hudson leaving, or hopping in the portal, or, intending to hop in the portal. Tim DeRuyter being fired. Texas Tech winning 52-15. Or Devin Cambridge. We haven't even talked about him. I guess or Devin Cambridge maybe being out with the basketball team.
Yeah, I'm anxious to find out exactly what the story is with Devin Cambridge. Rumors that he texted the team to say that he was done. Rumors that he just didn't show up. You can jump to conclusions here and talk about the possibility of, him not being real happy with his playing time, with JT Toppin playing a ton of minutes because he's been so successful. But it's really surprising to me in this transfer portal, not transfer portal, but this pay-for-play era that he wouldn't just stick around for his money.
Just take your bag, take your check. That seems odd to me too, but maybe people do care still about playing time. Well, doesn't mean you should quit the team or should whatever. I mean, we're just talking rumors here, but.
Now, would he had a year of eligibility somewhere else?
He's already a fifth-year guy, so I don't think he does. Now, you can fake an injury with this stuff. It seems like they grant these waivers, like handing out candy to kids now. But if he really wanted it, he could probably get it because I think he's only played in 8 games at this point. And I don't know. That may be over the limit. Might be. It's like right at that line of the 25%. So I bet he could try hard to get one. Saying he busted up an ankle or something, But, yeah. So which one was the biggest surprise for you of the 4 major things from the weekend?
I would say Cambridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just showing up on Friday and him not even being on the bench was pretty surprising. Didn't think that was coming. All right, what's second?
It's not 52-15. I'll tell you that, just because you had no idea what was going to happen in this game. You didn't know who was going to be motivated, all the above.
Sure. I was surprised at how...
I would guess Hudson.
Yeah.
Hudson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
DeRuyter is one that felt like it could be coming. And it's kind of one of those things. It's pretty obvious. The decision was made before Saturday because you're not firing off of Saturday's performance.
Based on Saturday, right? That was your best performance of the year, probably.
Yeah.
On defense.
It seems like a decision's probably made, a week ago maybe with the Oklahoma State game. But, yeah, I might be most surprised in how your defense played if you're getting into the weeds of things because
sure.
I was expecting you to be in some sort of battle, a dogfight, and have a running quarterback that was going to run all over you. And yeah, you could survive it, you could win, but I did not expect to hold West Virginia down. And their total yardage is inflated from what the game actually went like because you played quite a few reserves down the stretch and had a lot of guys that did not play the whole year getting into that kind of game, which is crazy. How the last game of the season went, how the first game was supposed to go. Getting guys in garbage time and so I was pretty shocked at how well the defense played, and with some guys that were out. I mean, a lot of guys that were out on the defensive side. That was an impressive day. Containing Garrett Green the way you did was not expected. Handful of thoughts and comments coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. More than a handful. Wow, just opened it. Let's start there. Here comes people saying Micah Hudson transferring does not matter, and after praising him like a deity.
Wow.
Y'all do know now it will be hard to get any 5-star after Hudson was treated. How Hudson was treated. That's a terrible wording. Like, how do you know how Hudson was treated? There's several lines of thinking and arguments on this. You can take the approach with Micah Hudson of basically saying, oh, look at all these other 5-stars. Look at all these other 5-stars around the country. Why can't Texas Tech do like Ohio State did with theirs, or Alabama did with theirs, or Clemson did with their 5-star freshman receivers? So why aren't we trying to get our guy involved? Or you could take the approach of, hey, this coaching staff is quite aware of what talent you have, quite aware of how fans want this guy in the game too, and would have played him if they believe it would help you win games. So you can take the approach however you want with this sort of thing.
So, I mean, just going off of that text, so your assumption is that these other 5-stars that would be considering coming here in the future are like saying to themselves, I'm not going to go there. They hate 5-stars. They don't play 5-stars. They don't believe in 5-stars. That's a dumb comment.
It
right?
is. I mean,
right.
Has that stopped the basketball 5-stars? Because you've had basketball 5-stars leave you pretty quick too, and then you've still gotten more. So
is the thought then that this athlete, this player's like, I'm not going there. They make 5-stars earn their spot, earn their playing time? If that was the thought process, then do we want that guy? We want all the 5-stars we can get. We want all the talented players we can get. But what is the 18-year-old 5-star thinking about this process? Is he thinking it was, Texas Tech doesn't know how to use 5-stars? That's dumb. They know. I mean, they use talented players. Yeah. I mean, that the 5-star is not guaranteed a spot on the field. Well, no player is guaranteed. I mean, look at our receivers. The other guys were better. The other guys were better. It wasn't we're not going to play a freshman type of thing either, because how much did you get? And also remember, he didn't get to go through spring practice. I think that was a huge factor in all of this. I know. And you're coming off of a knee injury that took longer to recover from, too. It's multiple things. I don't think it's – I mean, obviously we want him here and we want him to stay. And we've heard all the things about him, with the knee injury, not being 100% early on. And then the fact that he struggled with the playbook and all of these things. But Texas Tech wanted him around. Texas Tech knows he's talented. But if you're a kid that doesn't want to come here because Texas Tech makes you earn your playing time. Oh, Texas Tech plays the players that are the best players. Then that's dumb. Yeah, it is. That's dumb. I hate that he's leaving. If he ends up leaving, I do hate it because I think he's going to be really good. But I don't know. Do you just want the coaches to play him because he has 5-stars next to his name? Or yes, they do. Or did we want the better players on the field? I don't know. I will tell you, I'm also a little surprised they couldn't find ways to get him involved more when he was healthy. Mm-hmm. Okay, just to get him going because he is so talented, and let's see what we can get out of the guy. I'm a little surprised in that too, but I just don't understand the thought process of, I'm not going to go there because they don't guarantee 5-stars a spot on the field. That's dumb. Yeah. I don't know what I was expecting on the chat line. I knew we'd have a mixture, but I didn't expect it to be all fire and brimstone over Micah Hudson only. There's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. But we'll continue this next on Double T 97.3.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. The Morning Drive on Double T 97.3.
Alongside Jamie Lent, I'm Chois Woodman. Jeff McGuire back behind the glass taking care of us. Y'all keep hitting us up. Your thoughts, comments, questions, bring them all in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. Keep the commentary rolling in, as there is a lot of it, and we're not going to get to it, all of it. We will try to get to as much as we can. Someone says, cue Will Hammonds to the portal next. It's just one Hammond, and I'd be pretty shocked at that, but who knows? It is the NIL transfer portal world. We have these surprises. I'll say Joey McGuire has stated this, that they have not lost he said, it sounds bad, but they have not lost a player that they didn't want to lose to the portal yet. This was before, obviously, the Micah Hudson stuff.
Surely that would change
through the first 2 years, they have not lost a guy to the portal that they weren't okay with going to the portal. What does that mean for Micah Hudson? I don't know. Does that mean they're going to try to do what, bad example today, what basketball did with Devin Cambridge, or what Davis Rivers coming back for baseball, where guys go in the portal and then come back out, or, Cameron Valdez for football?
What about Jalen Polk? He was really good for Washington.
But that was one that was before.
Was it before?
McGuire. Yeah, that was the year before.
Okay. All right.
I'm almost certain of that. And that was a whole situation where that was a buddy from high school, and I'm sure everybody's read about it, but yeah, it was a dirty situation where Washington said, you got to commit now, and it worked out for him, I guess. He got to play in a college football playoff.
Yeah, he was really good for them.
Yeah. Marquise asked, why didn't Hudson get on the field? I don't know. I think I was talking to Jamie during the break. The last game he played in, he played 20 to 25% of the snaps. And that was way up from what it was before. They were working and efforting to get him more opportunities. But when Caleb Douglas, who was red hot in the middle of the season, back when Micah Hudson was healthy before the last 4 games where he's been injured, when Caleb Douglas is the guy directly in front of you and you can't potentially learn other spots to play on the field, then you're kind of in some trouble. Now, would I have liked to have seen Micah Hudson more than Jordan Brown? Sure.
Well, we didn't see Jordan Brown that much.
I know. Then Dre McCray? Sure. But again, those are different positions. These are different positions that you're playing. So I'm not making excuses. I'm not trying to make it sound like Micah Hudson is not a guy I would have wanted or want on campus.
There is something to be said for, and I'm not saying it didn't get done here because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, okay? But there's something to be said for you have to be able to manage egos. You have to be able to convince guys, even if they're right now not a key for you, that they will be a key for you, and you have to convince those guys, hey, keep working hard, you'll get your shot, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was done or not, or I don't know if those kind of things were said and then he felt like they never came through for him. It's really hard to judge this whole thing where, like Choice is saying, he was getting more playing time at the end there and then missed the next, how many games?
4, I think.
4? Okay, 4 games.
4.
So was that going to continue to grow, and he was going to be a much bigger factor, or any kind of factor for us because he wasn't really one for you? I don't know, but would that have changed things if he had gotten out there and got some more snaps and got into the end zone a few times and gotten more comfortable in the offense? Would that have changed things? I don't really know. I really don't, but there is definitely something to be said for, having to manage those guys and to let those guys know, hey, even if you're not doing great things for us now, you're going to get your chance in the future. You just stay patient, blah, 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 blah. And again, all of those things may have been done and Micah Hudson just wasn't hearing it. All of those things that we kept hearing was that Micah Hudson had no thoughts of leaving Texas Tech, and he understood the process and all the above, which, and we know in this transfer portal era that can change in a hurry if somebody, gets your ear and says, you know what, you can come over here and play instead, or you can go over there and play and get more money or get the same money, or hey, they've got a wide open starting spot for you next year and you're going to be the guy, and they don't have 2 or 3 other good receivers to split your targets with. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what this true story is here.
Yeah.
I just know that I know that I don't jump to conclusions and feel like it was purely about how many snaps he was getting. I know I don't jump to conclusions and say it was purely because somebody else offered him more money. Okay, I'm not going to jump to conclusions and say it was because the coaching staff didn't massage his ego enough. I don't know. Okay, but being a part of a team and being a young player and waiting your time and learning underneath other players and learning that you've got to learn the playbook and you've got to know what you're doing out there when you're on the field and all that is part of it. And if you can't handle that, then
yeah,
I'm sorry. That's disappointing. But I don't know. I'm not jumping to any conclusions here. I'm disappointed he's leaving. I think he was going to be and will be for somebody else a talented player. I hate that it's not going to be here at Texas Tech.
And again, I'm not stating anything here. It's not a for sure that it's not going to be here at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
We've seen in the portal era plenty where guys jump in, get a big offer from the place they're already at, and come back. And that's where money is a huge factor in a lot of places. Whether you like it or not, it is.
And if we have to turn around and give him, with the rumors of how much he got to come here, if we have to turn around and give him even more money to come back, man, be gone.
But if Alabama or Texas is offering that kind of money, it's a dirty world of college athletics. It's where we're at. That's where I'm ready for the salary caps. Bring your thoughts in. I don't have to ask you to do that. There's a whole lot on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll return to this conversation. A few comments about Tim DeRuyter as well. All of that to come.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thanks for hanging out with us on a Monday. You're listening to the Morning Drive on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Chois Woodman, Jamie Lent. Yours from the First United Bank studio. Wow, Choice calling listeners stupid and dense, especially after all the things we've heard out of him over the years. Touche. Fair. Interesting listener recruitment strategy. I said what you said is stupid.
He did specifically say you're not dumb. It's just the thought's dumb.
Yeah, you're not dumb. It's just the thought's dumb. That's a dad strategy too. You got to do that. You can't call a kid stupid. You got to. Yeah, that was a dumb thing you did.
Okay, so a couple different people have said this, and I'm not disagreeing at all. I'm not sure. Okay, that saying, hey, it feels like part of the issue is that Coach McGuire told everybody this kid was going to be so great.
Yeah.
And it feels like people are upset because he got hyped up so much.
Yep.
And just like they've been upset with Coach McGuire in the past of hyping up a team or a season or an offensive line too much. Mm-hmm. And so, maybe that's...
No, I get it. I understand that too. If that's part of it, then totally get it, because it was something where he said, and I can't remember the timeline on this, so forgive me, but the day one thing, he said Micah Hudson's going to make an impact from day one. I can't remember if that was pre-spring or what that was, if that was signing day that he's saying that, or if that was in August that he was saying that. Either way, that gets fans excited to see him day one. So when he doesn't really get in the game or doesn't play much against ACU, then people start to worry and start to I totally understand it. Totally understand that perspective of it.
Yeah, and so it does feel like that to me feels like some frustration with fans that kind of the MO for Joey Maguire at times has been to overhype some things. He's obviously an extremely positive guy.
Yeah.
And he's also, loves talking about his team and promoting his team and all the above. But it does feel like some of the fan base, I get it, feels like that at times there's been some empty promises there, or it's been just too hyped, and maybe Coach Maguire could learn to be a little bit more low key about things. But I don't know. I don't know if I believe that or not. Just because you got to sell your program. You're always doing that, right? You have to show confidence in your team and the players, and so you're going to do that by continuing to be positive about things. After games when you lose, then maybe you're a little bit more harsh about things. But in the off season, no coaches are running around going, I think we're not going to be very good this year. I think we're going to be pretty average. Nobody's saying that.
Yep. This one says, not that they hate 5 stars, but our lack of awareness is silly. They burned his redshirt eligibility by throwing him out there in the fourth quarter on a punt return. That stuff is a silly thought there, and lack of awareness, if you want to go with those wording. You never planned to redshirt him. There was no plan. So
again, you thought he was going to play the last 4 games.
Yeah, he was going to play in the last 4 games.
You didn't know that he was going to get hurt.
So that narrative, and I've seen it elsewhere, not just on the chat line, the burning of the red shirt, that's silliness, because he was never going to redshirt here. I mean, they said that from the get-go. You never planned that at all. He never planned it. Will Hammond was planned to redshirt, and that's why you didn't see him maybe in some other points in the season. Will Hammond wanted to redshirt, but this was never supposed to be the case there. So, yeah, throw that narrative in the trash. You can take it from a lot of different angles, but that one's not the right one. I promised Jamie would get to DeRuyter because, you let go of a defensive coordinator yesterday. And that was an interesting move. And I think I've seen a mixed reaction, and we've got a few thoughts on the chat line about it. I've seen a mixed reaction. To sum up what I've seen on the interwebs out there, it's a combination of, man, I hate to see that because I like DeRuyter, but I understand the move. And I don't like this move.
That's where I am.
That's where I am as well. I've seen the I don't like this move. I thought DeRuyter was heading in the right direction, and then I've seen the.
I definitely felt that way before this year.
Yeah, and then I've seen the you can't have a defense that's in the 120s and survive it. So that's the majority of the reactions I've seen out there. But I'm kind of in the same camp as you. I hate it. I like Tim DeRuyter. I think he is a good coordinator, but man, your defense was bad and cost you some situations this year.
Yeah.
So I understand the move.
Yeah, and I guess if we go back to our last conversation, and sometimes things that get overhyped, I can't stop hearing about how much depth we had on defense. Mm-hmm. How many times we heard that coming into the season. And there were injuries. There was no question there were injuries, okay? And it seems like in this defensive backfield and your kind of rush end outside linebacker spot, right? But those injuries cost you way too much. It felt like for a team whose coaching staff was talking about depth before the season.
Yep.
Yeah, before the year, I thought he had been doing a good job. We were moving in the right direction. Mm-hmm. Defense was getting, taking steps forward each of the first few seasons, but this year it was bad.
Maybe we should change the word depth to and spread it out a little bit. Good depth and bad depth, because you can have a lot of bodies there you're going to play. Yeah. This one says, honestly, I thought Zach Kittley was the one going to get fired, not Tim DeRuyter. Based on what? He finished with a top 10 scoring offense in the country this year. You may disagree philosophically with Zach Kittley or not like the lulls, whatever. But
I for one did not like the lulls.
Oh, I didn't like the lulls.
Okay, it's not fun to see our offense be killer for a quarter and then stop for a quarter and a half. That's not fun.
But that is not a fireable offense when the overall product is what it was this year. You were one of the best offenses, inarguably, in the country. One of the best offenses in the country. Yes, it went away at times. Yes, you didn't score on every single drive of the year like some people in Lubbock, Texas want, but you were a good offense this year. So I don't understand the thought of I thought Zach Kitley was going to get fired. You scored over 50 points in your last 2 games.
Yeah.
And it felt like you really opened up the last 2 games. I mean, it was different the last 2 games. You saw 5 wide sets more. It felt like the playbook just completely opened the last 2 games for whatever reason. And it wasn't just throwing the football. Taj goes for 188 on Saturday.
I thought
gone for more.
I thought the first week it was because you're playing a terrible defense. I thought that had a lot to do with it.
Could.
Okay.
Sure.
I didn't think West Virginia's defense was terrible. I mean, obviously they weren't as good as we've seen from some West Virginia defenses. I mean, I think that you're absolutely making sense when you're talking about being a top 10 offense in the country. I will tell you, like I say with any coaching staff, I don't think it was perfect. Okay.
Sure.
The play calling at the end of the TCU game is going to probably leave me angry for a long time. Okay. Just because I hate TCU and I hate that we blew that game, and I hate the way we played not to lose at the end of the game. Hated it. And but at the same time, it's hard to argue with the numbers overall for the year. That's and it's about numbers. Wasn't always perfect, and it was frustrating at times that you were just dead, but other times, man, you looked really, really good. In the last 2 weeks, you definitely did.
Plenty more from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Tim DeRuiter, Micah Hudson. We could talk about a football game if anybody wants to put your thoughts on Texas Tech's win. Okay, maybe not.
How about me planting a flag in Choice's yard?
Whoa. That was you?
Yes.
We will get to...
Says fly, Bills, fly.
Oh, that's just silly. We got the question of the day next.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, 8-4. That is your regular season finish.
That is an accurate statement.
I am giving you the opportunity to take one loss and turn it into a win. But you have to take one win and turn it into a loss.
So staying at 8-4.
And I was thinking about going for the whole season, but I'm taking that out of the mix.
Yeah, because I would...
Yeah, I am saying it has to be Big 12 game. One that you would trade. So you have to take one of those wins and make it a loss to get one of those losses into a win.
I would have definitely, if you would have allowed it, would have been the North Texas game, or heck, maybe even Abilene Christian.
Really? Would you have, though? I mean...
yes, it would have stunk.
Because you'd have been in the Big 12 championship
Because you'd be in the Big 12 championship. Yes, trade that for the TCU.
That would have been embarrassing to lose to one of those Texas schools.
Is that how K-State views it when they lose a couple games early, or Iowa State when they've done that, but then go on to have a good rest of the season? I mean, OSU last year, they lose to South Alabama, but they're playing in the Big 12 championship.
But K-State's not losing to. They didn't lose to Little Brother.
They have lost to
a not in-state Little Brother.
I guess, but I would still take it. I would have taken it, but you've wiped that off. You've taken that off the table. So if I'm flip-flopping a single game, I guess flip around the Arizona State game. I'll take a loss there for a team that has proven to be really good, and take a win over Colorado.
Okay.
It was Colorado or TCU, and I just chose the Colorado because I think that would actually still, in that scenario, I think you would have gotten into a Big 12 championship with that flip-flop, by the way.
Ooh, I hadn't even thought about that part of it yet. Man, that may have just changed my answer, Choice.
No. You would still have been a game short.
Yeah, you would.
Sorry.
There were still three teams.
No,
that
I think
were,
you would have just climbed a couple of tiebreakers.
It still would have been 3 teams, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So,
in front of you.
See, I've got 2 teams that I would trade for 2 wins, but I don't know which one I want to do. And the 2 wins that I would be willing to trade would be the Iowa State win and the Arizona State win.
Mm-hmm.
For the losses of TCU and Colorado. But I don't know which group I would want to pick. I'll take the Iowa State loss because it was on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And pick up the Colorado win because it was at home. And you're leaving home happy then. You still would have a good record on the road, and you leave Jones Stadium happy. And that's how you build the Jones back to what it used to be. And I think it's getting closer to that every year. But that's how you keep that going. So that would be the trade I would make.
Okay.
All right, I'll take give me a loss at Iowa State and give me a win at TCU. Iowa State, I don't mind losing to. I don't know any Iowa State fans. It's easier to take that. I wouldn't have wanted to lose the Arizona State game because it was at home.
Well,
and go ahead.
No, the Iowa State one I didn't. I thought about that one, Jamie, but it's a ranked win. I get they're not ranked. I guess they are ranked now, but it's a ranked win, and you don't have a ton of those. So that's why I didn't want to get rid of your ranked win.
Okay.
That's why I chose Arizona State. That's the only reason, because it came down to those 2 for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't factor in for you? The number next to the name?
No.
Okay.
No.
We had another...
But I would really, really like to have that TCU game.
I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
People...
I didn't end up being nearly as bothered by losing to Colorado as I thought I would be at the beginning of the season because I thought they ultimately turned out to be a really good football team.
Yeah. Jamie, people, we want the Leach days back. We always look back to 2000 to 2009. You had one of your most Mike Leach-esque years ever this year. I mean, this was a Mike Leach year with the exception of one thing. But you went and beat a team you weren't supposed to beat. Right? You got your ranked win on the road. At the time, they were ranked 11, I believe,
yep.
Iowa State.
Yep.
So you went and won a game that you weren't supposed to win. You lost a game you weren't supposed to lose.
I would say 2.
And I say that, I guess...
And both of them finished right there with the same record as you.
They finished at 8-4 with you. And 6-3 in conference play. Tech, Baylor, and TCU all tied together.
You lost at home. You got pounded at home by a team that was 0-3 in conference play at the time.
See,
and then
so maybe
you lost a 17-point lead halfway through the third quarter.
So I guess you didn't lose
to lose to a very, very mediocre TCU team.
So I guess you didn't lose to a team that was a sub 500 team like Leach would usually do. So maybe it isn't as Mike Leach because the one thing you don't have that almost always came in a Mike Leach year was a win that tugs on the heartstrings, one that gets you going as a fan base, an emotional win over a rival. And you don't have those opportunities that much. You could argue
beat the crud out of Oklahoma State.
You could argue OSU. You didn't beat the crud out of them. Beat them by a touchdown. He scored a lot of points on them.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
So I guess you could argue OSU, but you don't have Texas or A&M. And so you'll never be able to equal some of those Leach years because of that, because you don't have Texas and A&M that you play every year, or even an OU kind of fit that bill for some people. But so I'm with you on the whole home thing. I don't like losing home games.
Mm-hmm.
But you finally, that's just how it goes, right? You finally were a good team on the road this year. You're 1 point away, or that last drive away from beating TCU, I say that I still blame the defense as much as anything in that game. From being undefeated in conference play on the road. But your home record wasn't as good this year as it's been.
Right.
Continue your thoughts on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll hit you with a few headlines real quick and back to more of yours next. It is the Morning Drive on Double T 97.3.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Drive, or welcome back, right here on Double T 97.3, DoubleT973.com, the Double T 97.3 mobile app. Watchable on television, Fox 34 News Now, and on our YouTube channel. Check out the Double T Sports Network. Go hit the subscribe button. Alongside Jamie Lent, I'm Chois Woodman, in for Charles Michael today. Jeff McGuire across the way handling us. Y'all keep hitting us up if you've got thoughts, comments, questions you want to get to. Bring those in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll read as many as we possibly can over the next hour because there are plenty to get to. And there are a lot of topics. If you've been hiding under a rock, Micah Hudson intends to enter the transfer portal. Doesn't officially open for a week, but reportedly will enter the transfer portal. Of course, Texas Tech won a football game, 52-15. So if anybody wants to talk about that, you can do so on the Yates Flooring Center chat line as well. Tim DeRuyter was let go as head coach, let go as defensive coordinator yesterday, along with secondary coach Marcel Yates. So, and then there's the Devin Cambridge thing where no one knows where he was on Friday night. So if you want to talk basketball, lots you can get in on the chat line. I'm going to play some catch up here. Someone says, I was shocked at the fact that Tim DeRuyter got fired. I thought more often times than not our defense kept us in games and helped us win. Sure, this season the defense was not great, but there were a lot of injuries as well. That's from Juan. Another one says our problem on defense was not defensive coordinator. It was talent. Is that the defensive coordinator or general manager? You can lay blame lots of different places. I don't know that talent will end up being your problem. I think as you see some of these guys get older, I think you just had a lot of lumps or maybe some holes with young guys this year. And sometimes there's scapegoats because I think your first 2 years under Tim DeRuyter was absolutely moving in the right direction. But this year, the numbers were really bad. And there were times where your defense hurt you. And I think part of the whole decision-making, this is just my opinion, Jamie, is that Joey McGuire being a defensive coach, being, every coach has they started on defense or they started on offense somewhere. Him being a defensive coach probably factors into this, where there's a certain level of what would be considered acceptable. So I'm guessing that factors into this decision for him. And 120th or whatever in the country is probably not acceptable for Coach McGuire. And it absolutely did contribute to you losing games. I mean, you let 50-something points up against Baylor. You gave up. We like to talk about the last drive and the play calling on offense in that TCU game, which were absolutely impactful. But you gave up 2 bombs late in that game to blow a 13-point lead, where all you got to do is keep it in front of you in the last 5 minutes of that game, and it's going to be really hard for TCU to win that game.
Sure.
So defense.
And you gave up short passes that led to bombs early in the game.
True. So defense. I mean, your screen game defense was atrocious against Colorado. Your other loss against Washington State, just weren't ready for a running quarterback, which that one looks better and better as you go along. But I was not calling for Tim DeRuyter's head personally, but I understand the decision. Jamie, were you surprised, this is from the chat line, to see Tim DeRuyter get fired?
I don't think surprise is the right word. I wouldn't have predicted it. just because it feels like the last couple of seasons there were good things that we saw.
Right.
And it felt like you were heading in the right direction. But this year was just so, it was so bad.
It's a big step backwards.
Yeah, big step
compared to where
backwards.
you were last year.
And so I wouldn't have been surprised if they said, yeah, this was a down year and we definitely feel like we need to be better. And so, but we got to get better, but we're not making the change there.
Yep.
I would have understood if that was the comment that was made. But the fact that they decided to make the change, I mean, how could anybody be super surprised when you see your defense ranking in the 120s?
It's hard to.
Yeah.
Hard to. Jamie, Chris, would a scenario where we got someone like Neil Brown or Lincoln Riley as offensive coordinator be something you're interested in? No. Because you would be letting go. Now, if you're talking about Zach Hitley taking a head coaching job somewhere else or him moving on his own, but you're not firing a guy that just finished with a top 10 scoring offense in the country.
Yeah, I wouldn't guess that's what they meant. I would guess.
So if you had a coaching change where Kitley's going and taking the Sam Houston job or something like that, then yes. I don't know about Neil Brown personally, but Lincoln Riley, yes.
I don't think Lincoln Riley's coming here to be your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and that's the other part. That's not going to happen. So
if Lincoln Riley was doing that, I think Lincoln Riley would just call it quits. He's got enough money.
Or, Lincoln Riley could go take the Sam Houston job or lots of other head coaching jobs out there because he has had success as a head coach, not necessarily at USC. Are they getting rid of him? It looked ugly, but I don't know that they got the money to get rid of him. I mean, there's.
I bet USC's got the money if they want to.
There's a big old buyout there.
Yeah, I bet they got the money if they want to.
You might be right.
Yeah, but
probably you're right. Yeah.
And it definitely feels like, but it's even before Lincoln Riley that's a program that's had all the resources in the world and just continues to do less with more, over and over and over again.
This one says should have been Kitley over DeRuyter. I don't know what world you live in, but you don't fire a guy when they've had a overall successful offensive year. Was it a perfect product? By no means. And there's not a perfect one out there. But were there frustrating moments? Absolutely. Was it an overall success on offense? Yes. Yes. This is the best offensive year you've had, Jamie, since Cliff Kingsbury was on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, pretty easily. And people haven't been happy with play calling since Mike Leach left, to be honest. There were people had problems with Cliff Kingsbury.
I think people had problems with Mike Leach, too.
And people probably had problems with Mike Leach, and only his 12-play playbook. So, never going to appease everybody. But firing Kitley is a silly thought at this point.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.